Mitch Keller tosses a quality start, gets his ERA under 5, but the Pirates lose, dropping to under 500 again. They drop game 1 to the Mariners 3-2. Instead, Mitch Keller, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs allowed. And obviously those aren't ideal, but I feel like I don't think anyone's gonna come away from this one and think that he pitched poorly there. And he's been kind of trying to find the right kind of mix of pitches, and how best to attack hitters this year. And I guess if you're unsure of what to throw, just throw everything. Statcast has him throwing 7 pitches: four seam, sinker, sweeper, cutter, curve, slider, changeup. Gets the majority of the whiffs with the four seam, which he's not a big overpowering guy, but if you can throw 7 pitches and kind of tunnel them all off of each other, then you have a better chance of missing some bats with the fastball. Pirates jump out to a 2-0 lead. Endy Rodriguez, he goes hits a double driven in by Marcell Ozuna, who gets his average above the Mendoza line. Cal Riley hits a home run to make it 2-1. Cole Young, the Pittsburgh native, because whenever a Pittsburgh native plays in Pittsburgh, it's in the script for him to hit a home run. So he hits the 2-run go-ahead home run in the 7th inning. It ends up knocking Mitch out of the game. Mason Montgomery comes in, walks around some doesn't walk anybody, strikes out 3. Isaac Madsen, Dennis Santana also come in the game and put up scoreless innings. But I mean, the pitching has struggled. They needed someone to kind of be a stopgap, and Mitch kind of stepped up. That's what you kind of hoping from him, and pitched a good game. The offense just couldn't give the run support. They pick up 9 hits, but only score 2 runs. The second run was scored on a throwing error by J.P. Crawford. But Mitch bounced, maybe potentially starting to figure some things out. Hasn't been it wasn't the best May and June. Wasn't the best May for him. Didn't start out any much better in June. The Athletics game was kind of weird in the sense, he gave up 5 runs, pitched 5 1/3. Only one of those runs was earned. An error in the first inning kind of kept things going, allowed 4 runners to score. He kind of, locked in and pitched well. And the only kind of thing was a solo home run after that. But Mitch bounces back. It's good to see. Pirates need it. Pirates need someone who they need that starter to go those six innings, maybe even more. Especially as we get deeper into the season, to where someone like Braxton Ashcraft, they might be doing a lot of cut the outing short to try to watch his innings. If he throws, he's less than 10 innings away from crossing the century mark, and he'll get a start here on Wednesday against Brian Wu, which could be a pretty good pitching matchup. Endy Rodriguez, I wanted to talk about a little bit. Good start to the season, which I think probably surprised, or I guess justifiably surprised some people, just because he wasn't. I mean, 1, he hasn't done much in the playing time that he's gotten in the majors. 2, he wasn't playing, the numbers weren't overly pretty down in AAA at the time of the promotion. So I guess maybe the expectations weren't quite there. He's coming off the multiple elbow surgeries. Like I said, he hasn't really performed what you know you would hope out of a former top 100 prospect. Hasn't been like great defensively, as I mean, at least when it comes to throwing guys out. Um, he's getting the ball out of his hand a lot. The pop time is more towards like the elite side. But looking at it offensively, I don't like he has an 819 OPS, a 132 WRC plus right now. I don't think anyone's expecting that to maintain the rest of the year. I think if you can, even if there's some regression on his way, if you can keep the OPS above 700 for a starting catcher, I think you're probably doing pretty well. You're in a good position, and you kind of look at it. Doesn't have like big time power. The 90th percentile exit velocity is like right around 105. It's not bad. Barrel rate at 10%, hard hit rate at 43%. The average exit velocity is 92, which is really, really good. I mean, that's right now that 90 in the 94th percentile. It's not as big of an indicator as far as long-term success. You kind of want to look at max exit velocity and then 90th percentile exit velocity. That usually gives a better indicator on if that's there. But like he's swinging the bat pretty hard. He's making a lot of contact in the zone, 87.8% zone contact rate. Not swinging and missing a lot. He's walking a lot, nearly a 20% walk rate. Like that's probably another thing that you probably assume is going to get a little regression. But I mean, if he can keep it above 10%, like I mean, he's doing really good for himself. I think another thing too that's kind of stood out, kind of just glancing over some of the stuff, is the air pull rate. Like when he's getting the ball up in the air, he's pulling it. And someone who's probably going to play the majority against righties, especially as a switch hitter, he's going to be batting left-handed. That is kind of like a recipe for maybe not going to be a big home run guy, but like even if he can abuse the right field wall and bounce some off there and pick up some doubles and stuff like that. And he doubled in the game on Tuesday. So I mean, it's a really impressive run. I know a lot of people want to do the whole everyday thing, and I think the catcher position is still kind of the thing to where you're not gonna have, more times than not, a true blue everyday guy. I mean, there are your exceptions with someone like William Contreras and maybe like Shea Langoliers, but I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna put Endy Rodriguez in those guys' stratosphere. So I mean, if he's playing 2 out of the 3 games in any given series, I mean, you're still talking that's a 66% of the workload there. Maybe an extra day off or something like that every now and again, just to keep him fresh, to keep him rested. Remember, this is a guy who has had multiple elbow surgeries, so maybe you're not going to want to overuse him. I mean, the arm already, I would say, is probably a little bit questionable. I mean, the pop time is elite, but he's not really throwing out a lot of base runners. So, good start by Endy. We'll see. Like I just have to feel like there's gonna be some sort of regression at some point. It's just how much. I think there are some underlying stuff here that are very encouraging. That if there is any kind of regression, it may not be as impactful. It might not be as big. So, but we'll kind of be on the lookout for that. As I said, Braxton Ashcraft gets to start on Wednesday. I think there's probably a good chance that we'll see Endy in the lineup again. I mean, even if we don't see him Wednesday, I'd imagine he jumps right back in on Thursday, which would be a day game. So, and Bubba Chandler is scheduled to pitch, so we'll kind of see how that plays out. But excuse me. Shuffling through the minors, down in AAA, Indianapolis loses 7-2 Jesus Castillo goes 2 for 2 with 2 walks and a stolen base. Ronnie Simon 2 for 4 with a double, an RBI, and a walk. Justin Mice, and we mentioned Pittsburgh kids. He strikes out 5 over 2 innings pitched. Looked pretty good out of the bullpen this year. Double A, they win 9-4. They're the only of the full season and above affiliates to win. Deuce Gorson 1 for 2, a walk, 2 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. He's up to 22 stolen bases now. I think there's at the rate that he's going, he's really picked up his pace as far as the stolen bases. I mean, there's a chance he could be pushing 40 this year. Jack Brannigan hasn't been too long since he's been activated back off of the injured list, and he's kind of getting things going here a little bit. 2 for 4 with a double and his 7th home run of the season. Omar Alfonso 2 for 4 with an RBI. It would be really nice with the left-handed power bat to kind of get going. Down in Greensboro, they lose 14-5 against Rome. I don't know if you remember, they played Rome in April in Greensboro, and Rome beat them up pretty good. And this looked kind of more of a continuation than anything. Sammy Staffer went 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, a walk and a triple. Murph Gray with a 1 for 4 with a double, a walk and an RBI. Bradenton loses 16-6. Brent Iredale hit his 4th home run of the season. He's looked much better since coming off the injured list. 3 RBI. Edwin Perez 2 for 5 with a double. Down in the complex Pirates, FCL Pirates lose 4-1. Gabriel Rodriguez 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. Carlos Mateo. Stuff's really good. Stuff's always been really good. I actually kind of feels that maybe the velocity's even up a little bit more. I know he hit 103 with one of his fastballs early in the season. He goes an inning, a third, strikes out 3, only 1 walk. Walk's still the big thing with him. The DSL Gold, they lose. Jan Rodriguez 2 for 3 with a double. Jefferson Lopez 3 innings pitch, a hit and an unearned run. DSL Black, they win. Angel Rosado goes 1 2/3, gives up a walk and 3 strikeouts. Adrian Martinez 1 for 3 with a run and an RBI. A couple of promotions that I wanted to talk about before we go ahead and wrap this up. Jack Anker promoted to the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Crafty righty, kind of I think I've mentioned it before, kind of like in the Thomas Harrington mold of some outlier stuff on the fastball, low 90s. He actually told me while I was in Bradenton, he actually added a tick or two. So he was really kind of just 90, 91 at Fresno State, touching 92, 93. Overall numbers don't really stand out too much. It was a 4.11 ERA with 47 strikeouts over 50 and a third. Had a really good month of May. 1.35 ERA, 15 strikeouts over 20 innings pitched. Only gave up 3 earned runs. Had a chance to talk to him while I was down there. He's throwing a slider. It was fastball, curveball, changeup in college, and the changeup's kind of been his bread and butter. Can throw it against righties. He told me while I was down there, analytically speaking, it wasn't quite where he wanted it to be, so they were kind of searching for answers. But the slider has been a big pitch for him. Has looked good for him. He's had a lot of success with it. He moves up to Greensboro. We'll see how he does there. Could be a guy that almost takes, I already mentioned Harrington, the Harrington kind of path like he did. Maybe he's here in Greensboro the rest of the year, and then he just jumps straight to Altoona next year. And the last guy I wanted to talk about is a guy that, since I've started doing this, I feel like I've talked about him a lot, but newsworthy now at this point. Irwin Ramirez. he gets promoted to Bradenton. I'd imagine he last pitched on Saturday in the complex. So, it was 4 innings, so I'd say Thursday, Friday, probably around Friday. I'd imagine that he gets back out there. Power arm, upper 90s fastball. Spoiler alert to the midseason update. He is on my midseason update in the top 30 list. Love the stuff. And I think towards there, I'll talk about the list more later in the week when it's out. But I think I got to a point when I was kind of working on the system that it kind of felt right to take a couple big swings on some high upside guys, because it was either I could take a swing on someone like Irwin Ramirez and with the upside and stuff like that, or I can go with someone like that's safer or not as much upside. That's probably just a middle reliever or something like that. So went with the swing with Irwin Ramirez. Went with the swing with a couple other guys at that point in the system. But he has a 3.67 ERA, 23 strikeouts, and 27 innings pitched. Does have 21 walks, so that's going to be the big thing. Hitters are only hitting 157 against him. Over his 4 of his last 5 starts, he's allowed either 0 or 1 hit. So it's been really hard to hit him. It's just a matter of staying in the strike zone. We'll see how he does there. The couple times that he's pitched at a place with StatCast data, it hasn't, as far as stuff plus wise, hasn't stood out much. But like I mentioned, it's a power sinker. Plays better down at the zone to get weak contact. Does have a four seam that he can ride up high. Really like the slider. Shown some feel for a changeup. So 4-pitch mix if you want to break up the two fastballs. Got a $450,000 signing bonus. I did a video on him as a lower level pitcher to watch along with a couple other guys. So go check that out on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Bucks on Deck Substack. Mid-season update will be coming out later this week. Actually, when this post, it'll be coming out the next day. So this podcast drops on Wednesday. The mid-season update will be on Thursday. I'm looking forward for you guys reading that. Yep. But subscribe to Bucks on Deck podcast, or Bucks on Deck Substack. Daily content, Pittsburgh Pirates organization, from the majors all the way down to the lower levels. Check out the YouTube channel. Videos every day coming up. Had the video of the Seth Hernandez start from when I was there. Check that out, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.